ياهلا Voice, الصوت العربي في أمريكا.
He is the one, the only, the Baba, joining us. Yahala Voice.
When a recovering Islamophobe talks. This is to pay a compliment, so I've got to convert to Islam, then I've got to go with a satchel of money apparently to Ramallah Jewelers.
Absolutely.
BAWB and the Friends. Now, all of a sudden, you have Americans and you have Europeans coming in and moving in to Israel on what's called the right of return, where they're given a free right of return. They didn't grow up there. They didn't live there. They didn't live there 20 years ago. Now they live there. Bob, and they moved in there from Europe, and they're given the right of return. What happened to the Palestinians that lived there? يلا باب انزل على الدبكة. Welcome to BAWB and Friends here on Yahala Voice, 1450 AM, YahalaVoice.com. Today, as everyone has heard, there was a tragic shooting out in Virginia. Our hearts go out to the victims that are out there. Allison Parker, who was 24, and Adam Ward, 27. But it's going to bring to the front of this program, and as every program that's out there, the issue of gun control and what needs to be done in order to try to start toning back the violence that seems to be on a monthly, almost, well, of course, in some neighborhoods, it's a daily occurrence. But we are seeing these very, very public shootings that shock not only the country but the world on a regular basis. And today, to help sort through this, is another friend of BAWB. It's going to be Khaled Elkhatib.
That's right.
Who is joining us. And he's, well, I'll let you explain your little history that you've got going here, your law background and what you did. You used to work for the city of Chicago, correct?
I did. I spent about 10 years in government. I worked for Mayor Daley for several years doing international relations, which was really the job of a lifetime. We greeted.
That had to be awesome. I didn't realize you were with Daley.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you went back to that.
For about 3 years, I was one of his deputy directors, greeting ambassadors, kings, queens, prime ministers. Fantastic experience.
Wow. With Mayor Daley. So, you know what? That was a huge loss when he left.
He was fantastic.
He was a man who truly, I mean, politics aside, he loved the city. He was really concerned about the city and the city image. And yeah, you know, I mean, everybody knows that there was the political machine behind that got there, but he did more outreach to the Arab community. And I don't think a lot of people were aware of that. One of my first gatherings was at a dinner honoring him. From the Arab community, the professional society, one of the professional societies put on an event. And it was really neat getting to meet him there. But you could see, obviously he was weighing heavy on him at the time. Was his wife was dealing with cancer at the time.
Right.
And obviously that was weighing heavy on him, but he was just such a neat guy and he was so approachable. And you could tell that he had a heart for the Arab community. He had many friends in the Arab community who absolutely loved him.
He really did. You know, you talk about a guy who's all Chicago. There's a guy who hasn't missed a Chicago White Sox opening, I think, in 35 or 40 years.
Chicago's still playing baseball? The White Sox?
That's what the papers are saying. The White Sox are. So he's a Chicago guy. He was mayor for 22 years. His father was mayor for almost 22 years. His brother, John Daley, is Cook County Commissioner for 21 years or so now. And then Michael Daley's in private practice. And then Bill Daley was Commerce Secretary for President Clinton and Chief of Staff for Barack Obama. So you talk about a base in Chicago, Chicago politics. There are Kennedys. And Mayor Daley's the first person to tell you that he's not perfect, but he was a great man and a great friend to the Arab community.
Yeah, and I mean, you also used a lot of those connections and a lot of those network connections you had. You had Bill Daley speaking at the Arab Democratic Club.
That's right.
We got to meet and talk to him, and of course, he chose not to run for governor,
right.
Which kind of came as a little bit of a surprise. But do you think things would have been different had he run?
I think he would have inherited a lot of the same issues at the state level, and he probably thought about it. And I remember one of the quotes that he quoted. Bill Daley quoted then Governor Quinn, who Governor Quinn was quoted as saying I'm paraphrasing here, but his reason for being put on this earth was to solve the pension issue of the state of Illinois. And Bill Daley said, wait a minute. There's a lot more to life than just doing this. As much as he's a public servant, I think he thought this is way too deep. If you think this is your reason for living and for existing, God bless you, more power to you. And I think from purely from Bill's personal perspective, I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, and as we know, the pension issue is far from solved.
It is, yeah.
We're in the thick of the nightmare. But anyway, get out of the weeds of there. Let's get back to the issue of the day. And the issue of the day is the shooting that happened in Virginia. Now, if there's anybody out there that has a take on this or an angle on this, please feel free to give us a call. By the way, callers will be registered for a chance to win a trip to Dubai. So if all you have to do is just by calling in, you will be entered into that. But what we're looking for is that what's your take on what's your feel and Khaled, what's your feel for what needs to be done in order to try to curb the handgun violence that we see or the gun violence that we're seeing on such a regular basis?
This is one of those issues that I've tried to, like many of us, I've looked at this from many different angles, from a legal angle, from a cultural perspective, and I just don't know what the answer is. There are so many guns out there, and I understand what the NRA's position is, that more laws only hurt the folks who register their guns, because the bad guys out there, the gangbangers and the drug dealers who have unregistered guns, they're not going to be affected by laws. They already ignore the laws by virtue of their status as drug dealers and gangbangers. They don't care about the law. So more laws aren't necessarily going to help, but more guns aren't going to help either. So I think this is a very interesting and tricky dichotomy between folks who support more guns and flooding the entire world with guns and folks who want gun control. Gun control, I think, is a moot point. I think at this point it's way too late. There are too many guns out there. Even if the city, state, and county and federal government all pass laws trying to pull back all the guns out there, it would never happen. Because think about all the guns in people's basements, garages, on their belts, in their cars. How do you get them all? How do you account for them all? They're unaccounted for.
What I hear? How many millions of guns are there out there? Aren't there like 2 guns for every person that's out there?
And I'd multiply that by 3.
Oh, no kidding.
I think there's a lot. Maybe that's too many, but there are definitely a heck of a lot of guns out there. And the ones that are unregistered, that people buy at gun shows, that people smuggle in from across the border, from wherever, that are unaccounted for, they're simply unaccounted for. We just have no idea.
Most of the guns are manufactured here, though, aren't they? Here in the United States.
I think most of them are. That's right.
Yeah, I think that's one of the manufacturings that hasn't gone away, but it's one that stays here. My other thing is that maybe there's an issue with regulating the ammo. Who can buy the ammo? I mean, these guys that are out there walking out there with clips, that hold 30 bullets. This guy shot off 17 bullets today.
Yeah.
Is what the report was on that. And I don't know. I can't identify the gun just from the top of the barrel. I'm sure there are people out there that can tell you that's a Glock or whatever. Right. And whether he had to reload in the middle of that or whether he had some special apparatus that allowed him to shoot all 17, or maybe it's one of the guns that holds 30 in the clip. I don't know. But maybe looking at how ammo is purchased. And there's a license for purchasing ammo. And if anybody has any input on this, 773-321-1313, 708-32. Yeah, sorry about that. 708-321-1313, extension 1. So make sure you do that. That'll bring you right into the studio. But do you think we should regulate guns? Do you think we should regulate ammo? What kind of criteria should we put on people that are getting guns and getting the license? I mean, to get a firearm owner identification card here in Illinois, it's strictly by the mail. You send it in, and they essentially send it to you. You send a picture in with your information, and they turn around and send you back your firearm owner identification card. It's that quick. There's really no real check. At least maybe there is. Maybe things have changed.
They may have updated it with the new concealed carry, and I know there's a training class that's required, but I think the real issue, that's one of the issues. The other big issue is all the unaccounted for guns. And ammo. That's probably where most of the deaths come from in Illinois. Is from the back channel, if you will. Right.
I mean, you hear, unfortunately, things going on all the time. It's mostly the drugs and gangs,
right?
Where that's being used. Outside of that, and the gun advocates say that if everybody had to register their guns, then truly only the criminals would be the ones outside of that, and that's where most of it's being done. But my thing would be is that if you know who the last owner of that gun was, then you're going to know how or the channel at which it came through to get there. You're going to be able to find out that channel. I like the way Israel does things. And Israel's gun control is that you can apply for a gun. And that gun then needs to be in one of two places, either on you or locked up at home. And they do a test to make sure, they do a home visit to make sure you have a place to lock that up. If that gun is taken from you and used in a crime, you are charged with that crime. So, and the third thing is they only give you a lifetime supply of ammo. Here you go. Here's your lifetime. You can go to a range and you can buy more ammo and use it at the range. You can't take it with you. So you have a lifetime supply of ammo. So there's none of these people that are hoarding it like they are in the United States. I mean, you've got guys going in and just, taking out the cartloads of ammo out of these gun shows. And a lot of ammo is sold at the gun shows. A lot of it's sold on the internet. The thought you can buy guns and ammo on the internet scares me.
It's very scary. Not just the internet, but we've got gun shows where you have a straw purchaser. For example, I have a clean record. I go to a gun show, whether it's in Indiana or Wisconsin, Michigan, wherever it is. I go to a gun show. I buy 10 guns. No questions asked. I pay cash. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares as long as I pay cash. I come back here and I sell those guns and ammo to a bunch of criminals, gangs, drug dealers. The market's flooded, and this has been happening for a long time, and that is part of the problem. How do you know how many guns are out there?
Then shut the gun shows down. That's where I'd start.
That's one issue.
Shut the guns down.
Gun shows are a problem because there's no accountability. Now, when it comes to registration, I'm just playing devil's advocate. You've got people who don't want all the guns registered because they say if we know that Bob has a gun in his house and he's registered a gun and hunting rifle, Khaled has registered a gun and hunting rifle, and we live on the same block, and then the next house over has no guns registered, the question then is, do they not have any guns or do they have unregistered guns? Because it becomes an easier target. They become more victims. They become more prone to becoming victims for people who are looking for, I'm not going to rob, I'm not going to try to burglarize Bob's house because I know he has guns. I know Khaled has guns. I know the next house has guns. But 2 houses over, no guns, that's where we'll go break in. So that's the other side of the coin. And I'm certainly not advocating more guns. I don't like more guns out there. But this is the question that I don't think anyone has the answer to, because you have very strong positions, very strong opinions on both sides, and there's almost no ground in the middle.
It's interesting because I'm going to wonder where he got his guns. From what I understand, he applied for his guns 2 days after the shooting in Charlotte.
Okay.
So he was. This is and this is the other side that we're going to hear a lot of this. This is a racially motivated action on his part. There is no doubt. He is exactly what Dylan Roof wanted. He wanted to start a race war. Right. He wanted other African American, if you will, to get involved and start firing back based on their animosity towards the white people, if you will. And this man, no doubt, from his employment history, held animosity. Felt that he was being discriminated against, being a gay black man, and that he was being called names, and that he was being treated unfairly. A lot of people, the people that were working with him said, look, he had anger issues. They bubbled up from time to time, and it was just very difficult to deal with. He was looked at as a problem guy, and so they essentially just discarded him. So in doing that, and I don't know, did you hear how long ago it was that he was fired? From the,
I didn't. I didn't get the time frame. I'm still getting all the details on this story.
Yeah, it's still new. I've heard it could be up to as long as like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was within the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it wasn't just like something that happened. I mean, there are people that get fired and turn right around and go right back in. Go home, get their gun, and go right back, or a weapon or whatever. One case we heard about a machete. where it was used. But yeah, I mean, guns are.
How do you stop this? How do you stop a guy from getting it? A guy who has a clean record, gets a gun, and then snaps. Or a guy who does not have a clean record, either goes through a straw purchaser or just gets it from someone on the street. How do you stop that? I think that's unstoppable. And you can't.
Unless there were no guns.
Unless there were no guns.
And we've passed that point.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely not going to happen. That's no longer an option.
I heard somebody saying, and they were right, the Sandy Hook shooter. They said once we seemed okay with shooting up kids in a school and we weren't going to do anything, the gun issue was over.
Right, and if you remember that shooter, Adam Lanza, I think his name was,
okay,
got the gun from his mother. And after that press conference, the nation was stunned, clearly, because we're talking about shooting children.
Yeah.
5 and 6 and 7-year-old children. And the President Obama's press conference after that shooting, he was clearly disturbed.
Absolutely.
And I think he knew that at that point, if Congress wasn't going to move after 5 and 6-year-olds were shot and killed, they were never going to move. And I think it's clear they're never going to move.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't see them.
The lobby's too strong.
It's way too strong. And if they didn't move for those, I forget what the number was, several dozen children, cute little children who were killed, if that didn't get them to act, absolutely nothing on this planet will.
Yeah. And Rush Limbaugh today was on the air saying that, you know what, things will happen if he, he was saying that everybody should be armed and that those news people should be armed and that had they been armed, things might have been different. No,
absolutely not. Then where does it end?
Yeah.
Does the butcher need to be armed? Does your dentist, your baker, your attorney? Where does this end? It doesn't make sense. I think that's not the right answer. And then we can't have metal detectors everywhere. I mean, what do we become? What do we become when we have metal detectors at every office store, every bakery, every law office, every radio station, every school, every church? It just doesn't work.
Yeah. The phone number to call here, 708-321-1313. 708-321-1313. Extension 1. Ask for, well, you don't even need to ask. Just push 1 and it'll bring you right into the booth. And we've got a caller on the line. Good afternoon.
Hi, I just wanted to know what are the legal ramifications for the shooter today, and will they pull the race discrimination card? Will there be any riots or anything else like that?
And you are, and where are you calling from?
Because Angie calling from.
Angie from Chicago?
Yes.
Hi, Angie. How are you? So you're looking to know what are the ramifications? What are the legal ramifications? Well, first of all, as I understand it, he's dead now. So he's going to have a higher court to deal with right about now. And if I don't miss my guess, it's going to be pretty hot. It's just my belief that where he's going. But are there any going to be any ramifications if, say, somebody bought that gun for him?
Potentially.
I saw that. I actually saw the reports, and he's actually not dead. There's some reports saying that he's dead and some reports saying that he's still in critical condition.
Okay, well, let's take that both ways. Let's say if he is dead, there's no ramifications for him because he's dead. But for potentially the shooter, if there were a purchaser who bought the gun, there could be. It depends. Now, let's say someone legally, and it depends on the laws of that state, but let's say I purchase a gun legally, and Angie, I loan you my gun, and you say you just want to take it to the range to shoot and practice, and then you commit murder with it. It depends because it's tricky because then you're talking about a third party who's committing a criminal act. It'd be like you taking a knife or a hammer from me and committing murder with it, with the exception that with guns, there are specific laws that apply to guns. So in this case, I don't know. That's still not clear. It depends on where he got the gun. My guess is he got the gun himself.
I think so.
I don't think there'll be ramifications for other people.
But if he was alive, he'd be charged with 2 counts of murder.
Right.
And actually, there was a third person shot.
Attempted murder. I think that third person's in critical condition.
No, actually, the good news is she's out of surgery.
Okay.
I just checked before coming in. She's out of surgery. The statement came out that she's in stable condition.
Okay.
And that's the woman that was being interviewed.
Okay.
That was there. Angie, do you know anybody? Okay, let me ask you this, Angie. Why do you think this became such a viral issue? I mean, 2 people got shot. 30 people got shot over the weekend in Chicago. But why do you think this issue that happened today has gone so viral and has gone across the world? I mean, you've seen reports all over the world. Why do you think it went so viral?
Well, unfortunately, it's normalcy for 30 people to be shot in the south side of Chicago. And it's not shocking anymore. This is actually shocking to everybody because there were just two people that were just going on in their day, going to work, doing what they're supposed to be doing, not causing any trouble, not being a menace to society, and they were targets and didn't really have any problems with any of this. But if you see the suicide notes, I don't know if you've seen those reports, I guess.
Yeah, there's 23 pages of a quote-unquote suicide manifest or something like that he put out there. Yeah, and he said that she played the racist card and she made some racist comments towards him, which caused him to snap, pretty much. And what took him over the top was the church shooting. So he just wanted revenge for the church shooting. Yeah, I heard that he put the initials of the victims of that church shooting, that he put their initials on the bullets. I
saw that report as well. He said it was on the hollow end of the bullets. He bought the gun on June 19 and the shooting was June 17. Right,
down there in Charlotte. Well, thanks for calling. Appreciate the call, Angie. We're going to have you entered in. We've got the phone number here that we'll go ahead and register, and we're going to put you on there. And hold on just a second.
You know, Angie, I want to answer the other part of your question, which I think we don't have an answer to, which is, will there be riots? Will people play the race card? I think the challenge here is, now you're talking about not necessarily a legal issue, but a cultural issue, and what happens because of it. He said it was the race card because he's gay and African-American, and he faced discrimination. And I don't doubt it. There's a lot of discrimination against gay and lesbian folks in America and throughout the world, as well as African-Americans. It certainly doesn't justify, absolutely in no way justifies what he did today. But will there be things that happen? I don't think anyone can defend him. If he filed a complaint and he filed a lawsuit and he lost that lawsuit alleging racial discrimination, then I think there might be people who stand beside him and say, wait a minute, there's discrimination, let's take a closer look. But if he simply alleges discrimination and then kills people, I don't think anyone's going to be in his corner. But that's a very good question. And we don't know the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Angie. Thanks for calling. You know, one of the things that I think is a problem here is that we're not going to see the white community react the same way the people of that church reacted. The people of that church are what calmed everything down. Right. Their response to what happened there was unbelievable. So yeah, it was one of those things that this shooting in Virginia has rocked us all, and it's going to take some soul searching. And I hope that people can respond in the same fashion. We're going to come back to that issue when we come back from this break. But you can call in 708-321-1313. If you're on the line, hold. We'll get right back to you. But 708-321-1313 extension 1. We'll be back on Yahala Voice with Khaled just after these messages.
ياهلا فويس صوتك العربي.
هوم لايف فرنتشر، آخر صيحات الأثاث وكل ما تحتاج من مفروشات. هوم لايف فرنتشر، الأمانة، الأخوة والدقة في المواعيد.
No credit needed to finance. Everyone is approved at Home Life Furniture, 13449 South Cicero Avenue in Crestwood, Illinois, 708-631-3627. Mention Yahala Voice and your delivery is free. Get $200 off when you spend $1,500.
Tazkiyah Center provides educational and professional development opportunities that create a meaningful connection to Allah and His beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, through the teaching of the Quran, the Sunnah, and Islamic studies. At Tazkiyah Center, we also provide educational and inspirational lectures where teachers and students can benefit from in order to strengthen individuals, families, and the community. Please visit our website, tazkiyahcenter.com. TAZKEYAH center.com, located on the corner of 89th and Ridgeland.
The decision to become an organ and tissue donor offers a precious gift to others, the hope for a new life. We are all connected. We might have different faiths, but together we help save lives.
I'm of the Jewish faith, and I am involved in the gift of hope because my faith teaches that saving one life is as saving the whole world.
السلام عليكم. أنا من الجالية الإسلامية في شيكاغو أمريكا وأشجع على التبرع بالأعضاء مع المؤسسة Gift of Hope.
And I am a Christian, and I am part of Gift of Hope because life after death can mean so much more than heaven. It can mean that human lives that are cut short, often in tragic circumstances, can bring life to others here on earth.
Join us, giftofhope.org. Let the music continue for others.
I will earn my degree.
I will persevere.
I will be unstoppable.
What will you do? Come to Moraine Valley Community College and we'll help you fill in the blank. Moraine Valley is located in Palos Hills, Illinois. Get hands-on training to prepare for today's hottest jobs or earn the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree. Convenient class times and affordable tuition let you reach your personal and professional goals on your schedule and within your budget. Register now at morainevalley.edu, and so you can say,
I will achieve my goals.
I will achieve my goals.
I will achieve my goals.
هل أصبت بحادث سيارة أو خلال العمل؟ هل تعاني من تمزق العضلات أو وجع بالرقبة؟ اتصل على الدكتور أبو شنب على الرقم 708-599-9250. الدكتور أبو شنب الخبير الذي تحتاجه لعلاج إصاباتك في عيادته في بريدجفيو وروميوفيل. 708-599-9250. نقدم لكم الدكتور أبو شنب الخبير والمعروف في مجال العلاج الطبيعي والمتخصص بإصابات الحوادث والعمل. اتصل الآن 708-599-9250.
كيف الحال؟
مرحبا عليك.
بتفضل تشتري الجروسري تبعتك من شوب اند سيف ولا من بيتس؟
من شوب اند سيف.
ليش؟
لا كل شيء وأرخص.
لا هلا من شوب اند سيف. خلاص تعودنا عليه لأني ساكنة قريب من هون.
Would you rather do your grocery shopping at Shop and Save or Pete's?
Shop and Save.
Why?
I know it better than Pete's.
بتفضلي شوب اند سيف ولا بيتس؟
شوب اند سيف.
ليش؟
كل شيء موجود فيه ورخيص الأسعار.
لا من شوب اند سيف.
ليش؟
عندهم كل شيء وأرخص.
حاجة بتحبي تشتري أغراضك من شوب اند سيف ولا من بيتس؟
وين بنتها؟
Shop and Save Market is what they recommend. Shop and Save Market is what we recommend. Actually, it's where we shop for our 100% halal products, groceries, fruits, veggies, seafood, and all we need for the kitchen. Shop and Save has 6 locations. One of them is just right here in Bridgeview. It's that simple. It's Shop and Save.
We have free tickets to Abu Dhabi to give away. All you need to do is call our shows for a chance to go to Abu Dhabi for free, courtesy of our partner, Ittihad Airways. Terms and conditions apply. Go to yahalavoice.com to read the terms and conditions.
$149 a month. That's it. That's all. $149 a month to have your business name on the radio. Let Chicago's Arab community hear about your business, and for only $149 a month. We will write the ad, record the ad, edit the ad, and air it 4 times every day for a year for only $149 a month. What are you waiting for? Join our voice. Local Businesses United. 708-321-1313. Radio ad for only $149 a month. Call 708-321-1313 and get started.
You're listening to Yahala Voice. Yahala Voice.
Welcome back to Yahala Voice, 1450 AM and YahalaVoice.com. Here, sitting in at Friends of Bob is Khaled Elkhatib. You're starting your own law firm here coming up in not too long, right?
That's right. Next week, September 1st, I'm launching Elkhatib Law or ElkhatibLaw.com.
There it is, ElkhatibLaw.com. And what are people going to be able to call and go to you for?
Well, it's going to be full service. My background is over the past 20 years, I've worked at accounting firms, law firms, the mayor's office, state government, a nonprofit, and a variety of other things. So it's going to be a lot of business, government-related things, licensing, zoning issues. But I'm also going to do some personal injury, landlord-tenant, and I may get back into immigration, which I did once upon a time as well.
Interesting. But one of your loves, and obviously what we talk about on so often, is politics.
Absolutely. I have a love-hate relationship with politics.
It doesn't everybody? I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that has a love relationship with politics. I mean, I love it. I mean, my surname Patterson actually is son of a politician. So nice. is where that comes out. But so, I mean, it's somewhat in my blood. Bentley, I'm named after my Aunt Alice, actually, who was the first woman. She was the first woman speaker in the House of Representatives in the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Okay. John Witherspoon, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, who was a Presbyterian minister, was a signature on the Declaration of Independence.
Wow.
So I love politics. It's in my blood.
Cool.
It's completely in my blood, in the political system. But yeah, so we've got an election cycle. Not in my lifetime has it been this entertaining. I mean, right out of the chute, it's still like 16 months away. And you have some of the greatest confrontations and media is all over this. And mostly the credit, blame, whatever you want to call it, goes to one guy. And this guy by the name of Donald Trump has thrown, for the listeners that are out there, if you'd like to call in, let's pretend just for a second that we had nobody else to vote for except for the people on the Republican Party. So that is our only people. We can't, nobody else is running, just these 17, 18, or 19, or however many are in the clown car now. So that's all you get to vote for. Who would you vote for in that group? The leader right now that I heard by as much as one poll, as much as 40%. Isn't that scary? Of Republican voters would be Donald Trump.
For the listeners at home, I am shaking my head.
It absolutely is astonishing that this guy with no political experience has tapped into something. And what do you think it is that he's tapped into to get that kind of number response?
It's a very interesting question. I think a lot of people are studying him very closely because first of all, he's wealthy. Whether he's worth 4, 8, or 11 billion, whatever the actual number is, he more than likely will self-finance his campaign, although he could raise some money. What he's tapped into, I think, is he keeps repeating a certain phrase, and that is, we want to get America back, or I want to get our country back, something like that. And a lot of people have this notion of, yeah, let's get it back. Let's
make America great again.
Yeah, something like that. And let's blame somebody else. It's somebody else. He doesn't have a plan. He hasn't laid out any plans yet. There's nothing specific. It's easy to blame the other guy. It's easy to blame somebody else for any shortcomings the country has, that we have individually, that an organization has. But to be more introspective and look and think about what we can do to become better, I think is the intelligent route. But he's not going for the intelligent or analytical vote at this point. That's not to say that people voting for him are not intelligent or analytical, but I think right now they are more emotional, and they're buying into Make America Great Again, and this sort of very sexy picture of let's make America great again, let's give back our country. From whom and how? Well, those details will be sorted out later.
It's from the Mexican warlords.
That's apparently what he wants.
Because they're sending all their rapists and murderers over here. And so that's where the root of all our problems. And of course, I'm paraphrasing Donald Trump's message because that's where he's going. And the fact of the matter is he's been very offensive to women. He has been incredibly offensive to immigrants, coming in here, and he's just getting started. And his numbers are growing. What that tells me is that, and then when you take a look at how many people showed up at his event that he had last Friday night, and they had, 30,000, 40,000, somewhere between 30 and 40,000. I mean, it was a packed event. I mean, however many it was huge for a Friday night. It was a big Friday night turnout. Good luck finding anybody of color in that audience. They weren't there.
He'll tell you that he has a lot of Latinos who work for him.
Oh, thousands.
Here, and tens of thousands over the years who've worked for him.
That's his exact words.
But, going back to what you said about him being really offensive, which he absolutely is, I'm not a fan of Fox News. In fact, I intentionally avoid Fox News. All the 150 channels or whatever it is on my television.
I watch it all the time.
Because I can't. It makes me say really bad words. But so I'm not a fan of Fox News, and I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly. But he absolutely should apologize to Megyn Kelly because he was rude, sexist, obnoxious, and that would not be tolerated from anyone else.
Did you hear he just doubled down on that?
Because he's a psychopath. I don't know how the hell he's getting away with this.
And this is what somebody said, and this was somebody that I respect very much came up with this, and that is that he's got thin skin. And it proves that he's got thin skin, and that if you can get under his skin, you can own him. You can get inside that little real estate inside his head, and you own. You're renting space rent-free inside Donald Trump's brain. And the catch is what you can do to get in there. Because that will derail him. And to think that he came back, he should have just let the Megyn Kelly issue go.
Right.
But to think that when she came back from vacation, that she went on and then he made some quippy comments about, having a bad day, had a bad vacation or something. Obviously she's mediocre, a bimbo. Did he call her a bimbo?
I think he tweeted the bimbo is back or something like that.
Oh man. But And his poll numbers go up.
I heard one analysis from a reporter who said that Donald Trump and Megyn Kelly is kind of like the kid in grade school who likes the girl, the boy who likes the girl, but the girl doesn't really like him. So because she doesn't like him, his only reaction is not to accept that she doesn't like him, but to insult her. And to insult her more, and he really likes her. Now, obviously, he denied that, but because this was Matt Lauer on the Today Show who asked Donald directly. But I think it might be easier to solve the gun issue before we could figure out Donald Trump.
Wow.
But you give an egomaniac that much money and power, he's going nuts.
And he hasn't spent any money yet. I mean, he's essentially put a web page out there, but everything else has all been free publicity.
And free.
And I mean, when you get to the point where you can phone it in on Meet the Press, and you don't even need to be there, they want you for the ratings and the number. He is a great ratings boom. But here's the other catch. He's not registered. He's not registered in all the states. He's not on the ballot. So here's a guy who has no grassroots to get him on there. So I think by October, his intent is to be out of the race. That America's not ready for me yet because, and to pull out. And the establishment, the Republican establishment wants him gone.
Right. Absolutely.
Because he is doing incredible damage to the party and to the rest of them. So, I mean, now, if you're going to ostracize the women, if you're going to ostracize immigrants, that's the death knell of the Republican Party. You can't do that and expect to politically survive. It can't happen. And so that's one of the things that, I don't know. I don't know who would you vote for? Let's put that out to you.
Just from among the Republicans.
Just from among the Republicans. And that's open for the callers too, 708-321-1313, extension 1, is who it is. And so, we've got a caller now. Frank, who would you vote for?
I actually will vote for Ron Paul.
You would, Ron's not running. Ron's not in the Republican.
It was right.
Yeah. His son is. What's the other Paul's name? Rand Paul. You'd vote for Rand Paul?
I'm so sorry. Rand Paul, yes, I would vote for him.
Frank, I haven't heard from you in forever. How are you, man? How's the family?
The shows actually have improved so much. It sounds so much better lately.
Well, and by the way, Frank, I'm wearing a tuxedo, so hopefully you appreciate that I rented this beautiful tuxedo. It's a Hugo Boss night edition tuxedo.
You know what? And he cleans up nice. He looks a little.
I bet you look really good too.
I figured I'm going to be on radio. Yeah. Might as well dress up.
Yeah, he's got the penguin look going on in here, so it's in there. So Frank, you would vote for Rand Paul?
Rand Paul, yes. I think he makes more sense for the economy. I think he makes more sense about where the money goes. I think it just makes too much sense for us. You know, the thing he just said at the last debate about that we're sending money everywhere, we should keep the money here and take care of us first. I think it makes too much sense.
The libertarian approach to foreign policy is very much appeasing to me. I like that. I have a libertarian soul. And there's much of the hands-off with government that I like, and I think we do mess things up with our foreign policy. His dad, in talking about, was one of the first that had the guts to stand out there and talk about blowback that is created by our foreign policy issues, shall we say? And he's absolutely right. And it'd be nice to see Rand Paul. So how are you, man? You running still, or what are you running with Team Palestine?
Yeah, yes, I am. I am running with them. I'm excited. The marathon's coming up, and Run for Peace. Everybody's out there, so please sign up. It'll be an exciting event, so please come and join us.
All right.
Sorry.
And by the way, just calling in, you're going to be registered to win, but I've got some good news and bad news for the winning, okay? If you were lucky enough to win, they can't take the whole family, okay? They'd have to rent the whole...
That's actually very good news.
You'd have to take the
I tell my wife, hey, I just got one ticket. I'm so sorry, I got to go.
Well, you'd be like the whole plane would have to be just reserved for you and the family. When his kids get out of diapers, which is going to be. Oh, wait a minute. Did one set come out?
They're out of diapers.
Yeah.
They're all out of diapers now.
That had to be like a raise. That's a raise of like $1,000 a month.
It was a big relief. But, Bob, you're doing an awesome job. I'm so proud of you. You're always an inspiration to me, and I think you have a lot of good things coming to you that you deserve.
Don't be a stranger, my friend. Don't be a stranger on the call. I love your phone. I love your input, okay?
No problem. Thanks, guys. You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you for calling.
Absolutely. Peace, my friend.
Can I add something about that Dubai
All right, thank
trip?
You guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, in the Dubai trip, the good news is that if it's 2 tickets, I'll be using the other ticket. The bad news is I snore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I know his wife. You ain't getting the other ticket, okay? There's no way.
All right.
He is absolutely. I mean, we're so lucky to have a friendship. And here's another thing. And this Frank was one of the guys that reached out to me as a white guy coming into the community wanting to learn more. And he and his family have been very embracing. You know, I mean, here's this foreign guy that comes up and shows up at all the events. He's standing over on the side. He still kind of thinks that I'm FBI or CIA. I kind of like that. You know, there's kind of that thing that's always great. All right, 708-321-1313. If the election were held today, who would it be that you would vote for? Mohammed's on the phone. Mohammed, who would it be that you would vote for? Only the Republicans are the only ones that you can vote for. Who would you vote for?
Well, as crazy as it sounds, I mean, like you guys said, there's really no viable option. I would actually go with Jeb Bush, only because I think he's the most closest to center out of any of the ones you got. I do think Rubio is actually a very smart guy. I just think his policies is a little bit too far to the right. But I wanted to just comment more on Trump in the sense that I don't think it's about Trump. I think it's the fact that people are tired of the same old politicians. I mean, you have Hillary on one side, and then you have the Bush dynasty on the other. I mean, people are just sick of that. So Trump is coming in and with this quote-unquote straight talk, and I think it speaks to more about us, you know, having low voter turnouts. People just don't want to go vote now because they get the same old rhetoric. I mean,
Mohammed,
who our options are. So
to your point, I will say that I think that is also the appeal of Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie, for that same reason, I think people are tired of this Bush Clinton. You know, I mean, we've got 350 million Americans and we can only pick a Bush or a Clinton. You know, I mean, what is up with that? I mean, you know, talk about dynasties and names in this. Yeah. So I think you're exactly right. So Rubio's a little too far to the right. I think he is definitely an up and comer. This may not be his cycle this time around, but I think Rubio's out there. I mean, when he was given the State of the Union response, it showed that he wasn't quite there because he was a little out of his element, but he's going to come into it. And I think he's very warm. He's very gracious. He's, you know, got the immigrant story, you know, where they came from that. And, you know, there's something about the people that still have ties to the understanding of what it's like to come to the United States as an immigrant, or their family is right there. You know, you're only 1 or 2 generations off of that. There's something about that there. But you'd go with Jeb Bush. I think Jeb will eventually be the guy.
I mean, out of the lesser of all the evils, I mean, I just think he's a professional president, if that makes sense, in the sense his family's done it. He knows the system. He knows how it works. I think he's just going to be vanilla, which is sad to say. The best we can hope for right now out of the Republican Party is just being vanilla, because they're all nut jobs. I mean, it's really come to the point where it's laughable, and even a lot of people are not, so thrilled with Hillary either. And that's why I think with Bernie, where 2 months ago I thought Bernie had absolutely zero chance, as much as I like him, but this grassroots is starting to pay off, and you go follow the money. Bush raised over $120 million, and he's still trailing Trump. Trump's worth is assets. It's not cash. He doesn't have the money, and he's still leading because people want the grassroots. They're just fed up. You see it on the other side with Bernie as well.
What you said, Mohammed, makes perfect sense, because in 1992, 23 years ago, when, by the way, I was only about 2 years old. I'm not good at math. But in 1992, you had a young, good-looking governor from Arkansas.
That's why we became lawyers.
That's why I became a lawyer, not good at math. 23 years ago, there was a young, good-looking governor from Arkansas named Bill Clinton, and he famously said, "I feel your pain." He ran for president against George H.W. Bush, and it was different. It was interesting. So that was neat. Now here we are 23 years later, and we've got Bill's wife, Hillary, and we've got George Herbert Walker's son, Jeb, and I think, Mohammed, you hit the nail on the head. What Bernie and what Trump offer, it's not for Trump especially, it's not necessarily about Trump, it's what he's not. He's not Clinton or Bush. He's something different, and he's saying some magic words of, I'm going to bring this country back. And Bernie is not Hillary or Bill or anybody else,
and
so
not part of
it's what they're not.
Both of them are not part of the establishment. They are both clearly outside of it. And
it's a little bit refreshing. It's a little bit refreshing, even if there isn't substance. And I think subconsciously a lot of people are willing to cut them some slack where what they lack in substance, they make up for in being refreshing and a fresh new face.
Absolutely.
I think Trump actually has some pretty decent ideas with trade and things like that, but his demeanor is just very arrogant, and it's just too much for, being in that position. Just real quick, on Rubio, the Republican Party has a lot of makeup to do with the Hispanic community, the Latin community, and I think Rubio can be a big key to that, and that's why I think Rubio could have a slight edge if he does that properly, because with what Trump did, it totally alienated the whole Hispanic voting bloc.
I think you're right, and I think what Trump did alienated Latino voters in America and potentially helps Rubio. Probably not in this election cycle, is my gut instinct. I agree with Bob on that one, but maybe on the next one.
Yeah. Hamid, thank you very much for the call. Really appreciate it. And
thank you, guys.
Just for calling, as you're going to be registered to win, so we'll get in there. And on the line now, also from, let's find out. Let's just jump into the next call. 708-321-1313, extension 1's the number. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Meher. M-A-H-E-R, Meher.
Meher.
I'm calling from Chicago. Yes, sir.
From Chicago. Thank you. All right. Who would you vote for? If you were limited to just the people on the Republican ballot, we've only got a few minutes left here, who would you vote for?
I will vote for Trump 100%. He's a very independent man. He's already a businessman. He's not going to be under pressure. Nobody will buy him. And he's not going to sell himself for any reason. He's already a leader. He's already there. And I think he's going to do something. And guns is a big issue in the United States. Violence is a big issue. Everybody's ignoring. The law is down. Everything is similar like back home in the Middle East. And you, in the beginning, you mentioned something about, guns in Israel and security. I don't think that Israel is a role model for security or for non-violence. All violence and all occupations is violence and terrorism. So please, thank you anyway.
Maher, I totally agree with you. First of all, my mind is blown because I never thought anybody would be backing Trump on this radio program. I really didn't. So I appreciate you for that perspective. My thing, and I agree with you with what you're saying with the occupation. What is going on in Palestine, in the West Bank, what is going on in West Bank and Gaza is a total separate issue from what is going on inside what I'll say inside Israel. Now, I'm not talking about the settlements. You're right. And the gun policy in the settlements is completely different and completely wrong in my book. I'm talking about inside the what should be inside the green line, if you will, the 1947 green line, in that area where they have the regulations on guns, on who can't carry guns. Very few people have guns in Israel.
Yes. 90% of the settlers, they violate the law. They have guns with no license.
Correct.
So they do have
you are correct.
guns with no license.
Right.
Yes, sir.
You are absolutely right with that issue.
I agree. Meher, I agree with you on that point. But I'm going to go back to what you said, Meher, about Trump. Now, you like Trump, but let me ask you this. How much do you think Trump would support immigrant communities, the Muslim community, or women, based on all the comments he's made about Mexicans coming from Mexicans immigrating here and who Mexico is sending here, what his interaction with Megyn Kelly of Fox News and the things he said, which are really vulgar and very rude and obnoxious. And if he had said those, if he'd had been in most organizations, in most companies, he would have been fired because those are very rude and sexist. So let me ask you, you say he's the best person for you right now from among the clowns that are running on the Republican ticket. How do you address that? What do you think he would do when it comes to women, let's say your wife, your sister, your daughter, whomever, to the Muslim community, if you're Muslim, and the Arab community? How do you think he would treat all those communities?
Well, comparing to the best leaders, what we saw, Bush, I know Clinton, I believe, was the best, Clinton, Reagan, but after that, I don't think any president did serve United States rights. Trump, I think he's the only one. The media is against him. When you see media against somebody here in the United States, make sure he's good. When you see some organizations are voting against him, trying to make him show like he's prejudice, no, he's not. He's saying the truth. The truth is this country needs an aid, fast aid, emergency aid right away. Violence, hate, and crime, always. It's the beginning of revolution in the United States. So we need a tough president. A tough president to say the truth and nothing but the truth. We don't want president to go and kiss asses in Israel. To be a president, this is what everybody knows. To be a president in the United States, you have to go to the Zionist lobby. They will allow you. They will hire you. This is not. He's going to be very independent, and he's tough enough, and he's real American. So what we need is we have to give him a chance.
All right. Well, hopefully we're going to be able to, and actually there's a lot that I like that you say, but you're right about the fact that he will bow down to no one. Right. And he will not he will not make any excuses. He won't apologize to anyone, and he's going to act like he's the smartest guy in the room. He is going to be that brutal about the whole thing. Meher, thank you very much for the call.
Thank you, Meher.
We really appreciate it. We now, this is the getting real close here to the transition time where we go off of 1450 AM and we go strictly to YahalaVoice.com. So check us out on YahalaVoice.com, and we'll be right back after this short break.
شباب الفضل شباب القدس شباب القدس يا ابو محمد يا عمبير من روحي براس جدوليها ومعلقة روحي سايق عليك النبي يا بنت لا تروحي قلبي بيحن الهوى ساعة زبدية فوق 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 ايدينا لفوق اللي بحب الخضر ايدينا فوق 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 ومرت بين المارس بين التل والجبل بتمر الفوارس جفرات هي الربيع مرت بين المارس بين التل والجبل بتمر الفوارس والمنجل لازم يحصد ويعاني اليابس والفلاح اللي لابس حطت الحمية ايدينا لفوق فوق 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 ايدينا لفوق ايدينا لفوق يلا حرام
Welcome back to Bob and Friends here on Yahala Voice, now streaming at YahalaVoice.com. Here, sitting in with me, Khaled Elkhatib, and I'm saying Tab instead of Teb, right?
Right, Elkhatib or Elkhatib.
Yeah. Okay, and let's see, even in the English version and trying to spell it out phonetically, I still blow it.
Listen, I have trouble with it myself.
You know, thank good for like regular sounding names like Gerald Hankerson. That one I can grab onto. That one I know. And, how are you, Gerald? You're on the line. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Bob. How are things with you?
Nothing. Great, man. Nothing like jumping right into it, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Gerald Hankerson is director of the outreach group for the Chicagoland Care Division. And he, what prompted this call is that I saw his picture in a Secretary of State, Illinois Secretary of State flyer. And they decided to put out a little flyer reiterating a long-standing policy that they've had. And Joe, would you care to go into it? Are you versed enough to know what exactly that policy is?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, Bob, and it's a very important measure. So as you said, the Secretary of State within the Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, had a long-standing policy for allowing individuals of certain religions to be able to wear their particular headgear for religious purposes in their photo IDs. However, what was occurring, there were issues not only within the Muslim community but Sikh community as well, where we had community members reporting that they were told they had to remove their head coverings, regardless if they're women or men. And these are issues that definitely violate the constitutional rights. And so this is something where CARE Chicago, along with a host of other organizations representing both the Muslim community as well as the Sikh community, came together to ensure that there is an educational campaign that was approved by the Secretary of State office. And so that's what you see now in any DMV office throughout the state. These flyers pretty much remind employees that individuals should not be told that they have to remove their head garb. And then there are photos of Muslims and Sikh Americans that shows typical ways or the more common ways such head garb would be worn. And as you mentioned, I am representing the male Muslim in terms of wearing a kufi upon my head. So yes, I am definitely in the flyer that you speak of.
And it's a handsome picture of you, if I may say so myself. Absolutely.
Thanks.
And any of the eligible brides out there that are looking, you can probably look it up on the Secretary of State's flyer page, see a picture of what you might be getting yourself involved with Joe. When did this become a dating program, by the way?
Oh, good.
Yeah. But anyway.
It's also available on our website as well at carechicago.org. And then you can read a little bit more of the efforts that CARE Chicago, along with those other groups, including SAPRI, SALDEF, MALDEF, working with the Illinois Secretary of State's office to ensure that we have this effort. And so far, you're one of several people that I've been told personally that have actually seen these in the DMV, so it's very good that the employees within those facilities are complying and making it public.
Yeah. Now, as far as the women head covering goes, though, they have in that flyer, they have a woman in a hijab, correct?
Yeah, in a hijab, yes. That's actually my colleague, the operations coordinator here, Fatima Ahmed. So, yeah, she modeled one particular style of wearing the hijab in the photo alongside with me.
Now, let's get into the next issue, the niqab, the full covering, right? The niqab is the full covering?
The niqab,
yeah. The niqab? All right. Is that acceptable or not acceptable as far as the Secretary of State is concerned?
So that would not be acceptable. You would have to show at least your face, whereas we can see up into the hairline. Your ears do not have to be exposed. However, we definitely need to see the eyes and the cheekbones, the chin, enough for where if there was an accident, God forbid, some other situation where you need to be identified, then easily your face can be seen. So if for a picture, if someone usually wears a niqab, then they could adjust their hair gear to make it as a hijab and then be able to take the photo that way. But no, you cannot wear a niqab for a government-issued ID.
Okay, and just to reiterate for the people that might be listening, the people here in the studio both looked at me like, what are you talking about in there? Gerald, did you happen to see what the Islamophobia industry, and I'm not even going to mention any of them, but did you see what the Islamophobia industry did with this news release?
No, I did not. I must admit, I intentionally do not check these things out. There's other colleagues of mine, and they're great at this, they're keeping their composure. They're the ones that probably know well about this. So this
my friend,
I'm hearing of this.
Let me. You know what? And this. Welcome to my world, because in my world, my Facebook page blows up with this recycling echo chamber of Islamophobia, and they got onto it. That what were they calling it? They were calling it that the Sharia law was mandating in the state of Illinois that, and this is going to be insulting, and I apologize for saying this, but they were calling it a head bag, that they would be able to wear a head bag in their photos, and that, this was creeping Sharia, and that they were taking over now the state of Illinois. And the problem was it was sent out there by one of these whack bag groups, and then other whack bag groups grabbed onto it, and it became, as I refer to it, the echo chamber. So they all started reporting on it as if sourcing the other source of it, and it just became this round robin, and of course it became actual fact. You had guys that are on Joe Walsh. You had Joe Walsh out there on radio. Former congressman talking about how that, yes, women now were that, and of course they're giving you guys all the credit, for perpetrating this creeping Sharia. Just crazy stuff like that. I mean, that's the shame of what happens to stuff like this.
Gerald, you sound.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very unfortunate because that really speaks to their lack of understanding or refusal to really accept what is constitutional and federal law. This is nothing new on the books whatsoever. It's just a campaign that ensures that the federal law is being followed, that the constitutional law is being followed. What's more, this is not limited to only Muslims. In this particular flyer, there's also Sikhs, but this also could be applied to Jewish Americans as well.
Yarmulke, absolutely.
Particularly in other groups. We have a prominent Amish and Mennonite community in the state of Illinois. They, too, who are generally considered Christian, would be able to also wear their particular head guard. So, no, this is not only limited to the Muslim community.
Gerald, what about nuns?
Nuns as well, yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What's the difference? Now, obviously, and I think what Bob was referring to is a lot of folks get this information wrong, and it gets recycled and amplified, and they're starting with a false premise, with bad information, and people just completely goes into this echo chamber, and people just replicate it and add to it, and they're starting with a false premise, and it's ridiculous. So some people are just completely ignorant of it. I think there are folks at the top of that food chain who are intelligent enough to know what the truth is,
Correct.
and that there are guidelines, but they don't care because they have a lot of minions who will follow whatever they say.
Correct.
So when nuns go in to the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, to get a driver's license or a state ID, I don't think they've ever been asked to remove their habits. Am I right? And none of these people no one has ever argued or said, oh my God, there's a nun, make her take it off. Why is she doing this? This is not safe. But when a Muslim woman wears hijab, or a Sikh wears whatever he needs, or a Jewish person, it stems from this ignorance. Now the hope is that this is an educational opportunity for folks. I mean, I'm being really idealistic, but and I know the good work that you do at CARE. Unfortunately, these folks are completely ignoring the guidelines. And I read some of those comments on one or two different websites. It's all just garbage. It's wrong.
Garbage.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying 2 + 2 is 97. It's completely wrong.
Because you're exactly right that it's an educational opportunity, and that's exactly the way they took it at CARE. And that's exactly the way the Sikh community took it. And so that they took it to the Secretary of State, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and then the Secretary of State found that they needed a re-education program because it already was part of the policy. It just wasn't being followed correctly. So that was why they put this flyer out there, was to let everyone know, hey, this is the policy. This is acceptable head garb. Correct?
Exactly. And what's more, this wasn't something that just happened instantaneously or overnight. We've worked with our partners and the Secretary of State's office for over a year, and these are cases that pretty much led to this effort that has been happening over a slew of years. So this is nothing that, we find ourselves to really stir up sentiments for some type of state or even federal takeover, which is, often repeated. But yeah, you really point to something in terms of how there's a double standard with other communities of faith, particularly Christians, who can definitely share publicly through their attire their articles of faith, whereas with Muslims, it's either sign of oppression, particularly as it's seen through women wearing head coverings, and with both women and men, the idea that the more religious someone is, the more radical they can be, and definitely the more anti-American they are. So it's definitely an ongoing effort. We're, on the eve of the 14th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. This is something that, unfortunately, is an ongoing effort for us to really have frank discussion and understanding in terms of what the Muslim community is, and frankly, as we see how other communities also have that opportunity to really help educate and have those honest, real conversations. So I really was happy to partake in modeling for this, but I mean, it goes much deeper than that. So there's other ways to connect, but this is just one part. And it's mad kudos to the Illinois Secretary of State's office to really take this seriously and ensure that people's constitutional rights are indeed respected and fully following the law.
And Gerald, I know you have this on your website at CARE. What's that website again? Is it CARE?
Yes, it's CAIR, CAIR, Chicago.org. So we're just one of about 20-plus offices across the country, and so we primarily serve Chicagoland and the state of Illinois.
CareChicago.org, and I know you on your website you have the guidelines for what's acceptable and what's not. Go over those again. You said you have to show your face to the hairline. Ears are not necessary. Eyes need to be seen. Cheekbones, chin, which obviously means mouth as well, and nose. Correct?
Yes, that is correct. And if there's any questions to exactly what that means, you can also definitely contact or visit your local DMV site. Not to put them on the spot, but that's what they're there for. But if there are incidents where you believe, unfortunately, the DMV still needs to come together and really follow the law as it states, then you can definitely contact our office at 312-212-1520 and ask for the Civil Rights Department.
On the line with us, Gerald Hankerson, Outreach Director of the local Chicago CARE, and friend, one of BAWB's friends here. So, Gerald,
Indeed.
Gerald, man, thanks so much for calling in and letting us know and clarifying all this for us. Really appreciate it, and keep doing all the great work you guys are doing over there.
No problem, and I appreciate you extending this educational awareness effort. So kudos to you, and thanks so much. And your friend there, too, Abu Talib?
Khaled Elkhatib, or Khaled Elkhatib. Yeah, and thank you, Gerald. I mean, I know you and Ahmed at CARE and everybody there, and what you've done is fantastic. And this information, what you talked about in terms of the guidelines, that dispels so many myths and rumors. There are guidelines. People can look to it. If they choose to remain ignorant, that's on them. So thank you again. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care, guys.
Thanks, man.
Salam.
You know what? Such a good guy. And another guy who reached out to me in my out there, just put out. Of course, guess it's in his title. He's outreach director, so this is what he should be doing. But you know what? He does a good job of it. Okay, I'll just put it that way. Yeah, he came down to the Makluba Bowl that we had back, and that was a lot of fun. And he was on our team. He was such a good sport with it. Oh, I should have hit him up for being at the Run for Peace. Gosh darn it. I got to remember to hit more people up. Are you going to the Run for Peace this year, by the way?
When is that again?
It is September 13th. It is on Sunday morning, September 13th.
Do I have to run?
You do not have to run. You don't have to do anything.
Do I have to wear this tuxedo?
You know what? The tux, you will stand out as the person of honor that you are. I mean, they'll probably hand you a microphone, no doubt.
I will take the microphone, but I probably won't run. I'll probably walk. Now that I'm up there in age, 21 or something.
You know what Russia's trying to get me to do?
Run backwards?
Yeah, no. This is even worse. He's trying to get me to run. He wants me to run a marathon. And he's like, look.
26.2 miles?
That ain't happening.
That's rough.
I might end up buckling and doing a 10K.
The most I've ever run is a 5K. That was the Shamrock Shuffle last year, 2014.
Fun.
And I did it. My time wasn't great, but I was worried about my knee. One of my knees is bad.
Yeah. Now, is that a 5K or 5 mile?
You know what? I don't remember.
I think the Shamrock Shuffle was a 5 mile for some reason.
Maybe it was an 8K, 5 mile.
I think that's right.
That's possible. And I did it. I had a friend who helped me, and I did it, and I didn't think I could do it, but I was very proud of myself.
Yeah. You know where he wants me to run this 10K?
New Jersey?
Bethlehem. Yeah.
Wow, that would be cool.
To go out and do it for Team Palestine.
What a great city
to run. Too. And they're running the full marathon out there in March, and he wants me to come out and run a 10K.
Now I feel bad for taking the elevator up one flight. I should really get in shape.
Yeah. Well, just a few steps is on it. You know, you're in a tux, man. Maybe it didn't bend right at the knees.
Yeah, I don't want to get it wrinkled. I mean, this rental's due tomorrow. So.
Yeah, good to get it back in there.
I shouldn't have chosen pink for tux, but what can you do?
No, but yeah, in there. We are on Friends of Bob on Yahala Voice, YahalaVoice.com. This show will rebroadcast tomorrow at 11 a.m. It's on our regular standing time is here on Wednesdays at 4. We're going 4 to about 5:30-ish when they start doing the prep for the next show that's coming in behind us, which is Listen and Win. Again, another show where you can call in. You can actually win prizes calling in there. I mean, you know, all you have to know is what color the wristband is for Lance Armstrong Livestrong. You know, Ooh. Yeah. I mean, what's the average speed of a yellow canary? You don't have to know that stuff. Just the real basic stuff. And you can go in Arabic, which I have no clue of what they're saying at that point in time, or you can get them in English. And I swear to you, the English questions seem easier. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think they just dumb it down for us Americans, you know, because, anyway. But Listen and Win comes in after us. But yeah, the show is here. Sitting in with us is Khaled Elkhatib. And I really appreciate you coming in. Your law practice is being launched next week. It's nice to be on the front end of that.
ElkhatibLaw.com.
And that's right. And so the site is not up yet, right?
It's not up. It should be up, in the next 48 hours or so.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So the launch of the website is going to be big.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is huge. And you're going to be practicing. You're going to have to practice downtown Chicago?
I'm downtown on LaSalle Street, right across from City Hall, which will make it easier for all the folks who have issues dealing with the city, the state, the county, because they're all right there and the Daily Center.
Super. I wish you all the luck in that adventure.
I appreciate it.
But one of the things, and do you feel that there's an advantage or disadvantage, or will people even know you're Muslim, that you're Palestinian, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Palestinian there. Is that even going to play into it at all, or?
I suppose for family and friends it may. I've got a lot of friends who are not Arab, who are not Muslim. I mean, I've got friends who are Arab, not Muslim, Muslim, not Arab, and then Arab Muslim, and everything else. And I think that I like to think that I keep with a pretty cool crowd, pretty intelligent people, pretty well cultured, wherever they are in the world, whatever religion they practice or don't practice. They're pretty open-minded, and I like those kind of folks.
Right,
so to them, it's not an issue.
And it never has been an issue. I mean, with us and knowing you, it's always been. I mean, you've been talking business. You are a king networker. You are, and early on, I've identified this. You've got that little eye of the tiger. I think you're going to have political ambitions down the road. I don't know whether they'll come.
I feel your pain.
There it is, man. You've got, well, it's an impersonator too. But I think you've got the it factor. I think you've got that political it factor that you can, you're charismatic. You're very comfortable in a microphone. You're very comfortable in a crowd setting. I've watched you command an audience. You've got that voice. And I think you could do it. I think you've got the chops to do it. Wherever you go in the next 10 years or whatever, wherever your practice takes you, hopefully it's here in the Chicagoland area, and I can see you getting involved. You'll have a heck of a grassroots backing you already.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I've had folks ask me to run for specific offices, or just ask me to run in general. It's something that I really like the idea of. Probably not now, not in the next couple of years. Once I build up this practice.
Alderman? Would you look at being an alderman?
I live in the city. I've finished grammar school, high school, college, and law school, all in the city of Chicago. I love the city of Chicago.
You do?
I would definitely consider alderman. But that's still a few years down the road. Once I build up this practice. And let me say this. I just got back from Southern California a couple nights ago. We were in Beverly Hills and Hollywood and Los Angeles, and it was gorgeous. Santa Monica, Venice Beach, absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
Perfect weather, the mountains, the fresh air, but I don't think I'd move there. I went to Abu Dhabi a few years ago for a job interview. I don't think I'd move there because all my friends or family are right here in Chicago, in the Chicago metropolitan area. So I'm staying in Chicago.
It is sweet home Chicago.
It really is.
Now all we got to get you to do is to root for the Cubs instead of the Sox.
I'll root for anybody Chicago. Anybody Chicago, I'm behind you.
All right.
Sports.
Cubs play Chicago. Who are you rooting for?
If it's Cubs versus Sox?
Yeah.
If I can get tickets, I'll vote for whoever I get tickets for.
That is such a good political answer. That is why you will be successful. That is exactly why you'll be successful. In the
Go Chicago.
Yeah, there it is. But you can always go with the Bears fan. Yeah, you'll always be safe with that bet. And the Bulls, the Hawks. Well, you a hockey fan at all?
I am. I admit I just got into hockey in the past 4 or 5 years.
How could you
as the
not?
Blackhawks were doing well, and it is unbelievably fantastic. Such an exciting sport. I almost had a couple heart attacks during the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
But it is a fantastic game to watch.
It is. And if you can watch it in person, if you get a chance to get into the stadium, it's completely different than that you see on TV. It's almost two different sports because there's a lot of stuff going on that the camera view does not show. And that is, a lot of people don't understand that, but
I think, let me make a suggestion and do with this what you will. We should have a live broadcast from a Blackhawks game.
That would be fun. Now we could do it taped, but I don't know whether the Blackhawks. You know what? They get higgly anytime you try to do, a radio station or broadcast. They want control of that. They want to know.
We'll
who
give
that
them control.
Is.
I just want free tickets.
You're into that free. Gosh,
we could talk about gardening for all I care.
Yeah, there you go. Talk about gardening while the hockey game's going on in the background. They'll give you little score updates every once in a while. Especially when the horn's going off.
Talk about mluchiyah. Talk about cooking. Whatever.
What was that first word?
Mluchiyah.
What was that?
Oh, you'll have to try some mluchiyah. It is the best way I can describe it is like a tangy spinach.
A tangy
It's a
spinach.
green. You make it in a stew with meat or chicken. It's over rice. You've probably had it.
I bet you I have.
If not, we're going to go on and have it.
It could happen. I know I've probably have had it. There's been a lot of stuff that I had, but I don't know.
It's good. You'll like it.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
I'll take your word on it. Hey, I'll tell you what. There's been not anything that I've had that I haven't liked. I don't know what people. Every once in a while, a little spicy. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't do the spicy.
Yeah, some people like it so hot they can't even taste the food. I'm not a big fan of that either.
I'm weak.
That's more Indian than it is anything, but yeah.
A little bit of spice, not too much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
You know what? It's been a great show. It's going to rebroadcast tomorrow at 11.
Fantastic.
And so anybody interested, if you want to follow us, you can do it at BAWB and the Friends here at Yahala Voice. It's also at BAWB Friends on Facebook. We're out there, and it's BAWB. If you want to know what BAWB stands for, because it's an acronym, if you want to know what that BAWB stands for, you got to go online and look it up.
So if it's BAWB, is it BAWB?
BAWB. It's kind of like yeah. Yeah, the Baba got added later because it was there. And I'll tell you what, the Baba's a tough thing to go by because anytime you go to an event, all you hear is all the little kids going, Baba, Baba, Baba. And you're like, your head's just spinning around. Because like, wait a minute. How do these kids know me?
Baba, I need the bathroom. Baba.
Yeah, it's
Baba,
like, Dad. Yeah. I'm looking around. Anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Like a bad Maury Povich show. You are not the Baba.
I am not the frying pan to hit me in the head to remind me. But no, it's been great. Yahala Voice, 1450 a.m. until 5 o'clock, and then Yahala Voice streaming on Yahala Voice. Tomorrow, it'll just be on YahalaVoice.com. So I wish you all the luck in the launch of your website tomorrow or the next couple of days here by the weekend. And next week, the launch of your law firm.
Yes.
That should be awesome. When's the grand opening party?
It is. I'm going to have several soirees.
Okay.
I'll have folks over, probably one in the office. I'll have one at different places. So I'll let you know. I'll invite you to one special secret one that I can't announce on the air.
And we'll be able to follow that when they are by going to your website, correct?
I'm going to have a website and a Facebook page, and I'm going to be very busy. But if you ever want me back on the show, I'll tell you how things are going and who I've sued.
Would like that very much. Elkhatiblaw.com is where you're going to be able to follow that. And folks, we're at YahalaVoice.com. That's it for us today. Coming up soon will be Listen and Win, but we'll be on the air next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Tune in. We'll talk to you then. YahalaVoice.com. This is the Baba saying so long. Bye.
Yahala Voice, الصوت العربي في أمريكا.